How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Blackrock is giving you about 72 hours to buy Bitcoin, and specifically 0.16. I'm going to explain why that is, but before we get into that, let me walk you through everything that's happened in the last week, because honestly, there's been so much happening over the last 4 days that I'm even having a hard time remembering all of it. So I want to lay it out, set the scene for where we are for Bitcoin and where we're going. And we also have a giveaway, 150 USDT. Stay through further in the video. I'll explain what you have to do to get that USDT and why we're giving it away. If you don't mind though, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one. This one's going to be a mammoth. You want to see future videos like this, you want to stay tuned in because this is all really important for the next bull run. Now, there's also a link down there to Margex. You can sign up, deposit within a few seconds. Literally, just type in an email, a password, check their terms and conditions, and you can start depositing within seconds. You can deposit and start trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, AVAX, Solana. I actually just closed a Solana long that went up like 200%, and I took profits when it fell down a little bit, so I got like a 2.5x out of it, which is just fantastic. It was just over a few days, and we're heading into this triangle, which is going to be really interesting in the next 12 hours or so. We should figure out which way Bitcoin's breaking, maybe hitting new highs here soon, maybe falling down a little bit, consolidating. So if you want to get a position ready, you can literally do this within seconds. There's also a link down there to CoinW in case you want to trade spot Bitcoin or buy spot Bitcoin, or you want to buy other cryptocurrencies. I talked about Myro in a video yesterday, a meme coin. You can buy Myro on CoinW. So definitely check out both of those links underneath the video. Now let's set the scene for where Bitcoin is right now. We had a huge monthly close. Some people say this is the highest ever. Some other places, depending on where you're looking, it's right under the highest monthly close ever. It's right there with the highest monthly close we've ever seen. Now, last time we broke 20,000 in 2020. So basically when we were above where we had previously seen back in the 2017 cycle, when we broke that level, we went up over 100% in less than 6 weeks. So we could see a massive move. I mean, you could go on vacation and then you come back a week later and we're at 80K. There's no way of knowing. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but we could see massive moves from here. Let's set the scene for what else is happening. The largest monthly candle ever, nearly up 20K. How does this happen? How do you get a 20K candle? There's extreme amounts of buying. Let's take a look. Right now, there's only 40 Bitcoin available for sale on the OTC markets. This is coming from Caitlin Long, who's been in crypto for a long time. Pardon the pun, a long time. But yeah, you can see the OTC desk just drying up. I've heard that even miners really don't have any Bitcoin left anymore. And some of them that do, they're holding on to it. They're not looking to transact with it. Like I saw Clean Spark, for example, today had 4,200, but they're not selling that. They're holding it. 4,200 Bitcoin does not go a long way either. I mean, this one entity, we don't know who they are. Maybe Bezos, maybe a sovereign wealth fund, maybe a country. They bought, over 2 days, they bought 3,200 Bitcoin. So yeah, there's not much to go around because it's being bought up by some of the largest entities in the world. This is the third largest wallet. They just bought 4,900 Bitcoin. Just 2 days ago, they started buying again after not accumulating since the beginning of the year. They had seen a big enough candle from 43 to 61. They decided maybe I need to put in a couple $100 million more, right? So they swallowed up a lot. We also saw Bitcoin hit all-time highs. This is not in one country, not in 5 countries, not in 10 countries. This is in 20 to 30 countries. We've seen Bitcoin hit all-time highs. And from here to $69,000 in USD, we see Bitcoin break all-time highs in a ton of currencies. And they're not just all small currencies like Malaysia and Taiwan. They're in Canada, Japan, the euro. These are some of the largest countries in the world and some of the largest currencies in the world. And Bitcoin's breaking all-time highs. The importance of this is people see that Bitcoin's bullish again. that it's moving to the upside. It gets passed around. People hear about it, that it's hitting all-time highs, and they think maybe I should invest. That's why we saw Coinbase jump from 400th or 450th in the App Store to number one. Sorry, not number one, number 150, and it crashed. Everyone showed zero balance, and I realize we've covered some of this stuff, but I'm just setting the scene again. Think about what's happening right now. We're starting to see retail interest come back, and I've been able to tell, like, my views are better. We're seeing 100 new subscribers every single video. So yeah, there are people getting into crypto, and they're coming in as the institutions are buying crypto as well. You can see just a huge amount of Bitcoin bought. These are the 9 new ETFs, 341,000 Bitcoin bought in 34 trading days, 150,000 net. So they are accumulating, even with GBTC selling. You can see that they had like a massive selling day yesterday. Even with that, they're still swallowing up Bitcoin. Even yesterday, it was a positive day, even though GBTC sold $600 million worth of Bitcoin. Keep in mind too, not all of this is just being sold because people are getting out of Bitcoin. No, some of this is from Genesis most likely. And Genesis is also giving Bitcoin back in kind to their investors. So they're selling GBTC and going and buying Bitcoin. So that's really bullish. No one wants to get out of this market right now. Even Fidelity is recommending 1 to 3% allocations to crypto. This is one of the big things, probably the biggest thing that I said could happen when the ETFs are approved, is we start including Bitcoin in retirement accounts. And this is the Canadian branch, but they are saying, if you're super conservative, 1%. If you're somewhat conservative, maybe 3%, or 2%, right? 1 to 3% allocations. Now, what happens when this goes to America, or this goes into not just Fidelity, but Blackrock and Vanguard? And what if this 1 to 3 becomes 3 to 6? It will take years of buying at this same buying pressure to be able to get these allocations. And for some people that think Vanguard's never going to allow Bitcoin to be traded, well, their CEO just retired after 33 years. What are the chances they retires within a month and a half of them pushing out the Bitcoin ETFs when they specifically said that they wouldn't allow people to buy the Bitcoin ETFs? Like, what are the chances? Of course, that could just be what happened, but that seems pretty interesting, right? Morgan Stanley is now considering offering Bitcoin spot ETFs to customers. They are obviously huge. I believe they're $1.5 trillion. We got word that a couple more banks are going to offer, and a couple other financial institutions are going to offer Bitcoin ETFs. A lot of the Bitcoin ETFs are starting to pass through compliance as well. I've seen some RIAs, some investment advisors start to approve Bitcoin ETFs, but some of this will take a while. And we're just hitting the bull market. Now we'll get to why BlackRock's giving you the time that's giving you, and why you need to buy the 0.16 Bitcoin. But the red dot just happened. This is coming from Plan B. I know some people give him crap, but he's almost always right on with stock to flow. Last cycle, it was a bit muted because honestly, there's some manipulation, but this is crazy. I want to talk about this, but first, there is a giveaway that I want to talk about. So Tencent did give me 150 USDT to give away in this video to someone. Now, the reason they're doing this is they do have a huge launch coming on Monday. This is the launch of Alvara token. I've had the CEO actually on the channel talking about Alvara. This is through the Tencent Launchpad. They're going to be listing on Uniswap on March 4th at 2 p.m. GMT. Now, make sure you do your own due diligence. Let's look at the last bull cycle. The last bull market when we had tokens launch for Tencent, we had a 30,000% gain, a 9,400%, 16,000%. If we just say, I'm not being super conservative here, but it is on the more conservative side. Let's say that they get a 10,000% gain, and I say it's on the more conservative side compared to these these three here. Let's say they do a 10,000%. If you take that 150 USDT and put it into something that's going to do 10,000%, well, you're gonna make 15 grand if I'm doing my math right, 100x that amount. So if you want, whoever wants to be put in for this giveaway, put your BEP20 USDT wallet address underneath the video and tell me why you're bullish on Alvara. Someone that actually gives me like a real reason, I'll give the USDT away. And I'll leave a link to Alvara underneath the video, probably after the CoinW and the Margex links as well. So definitely check that out. Now, let's get back to this, right? Okay, so in this first bull market, keep in mind that these are log scale, so they go up exponentially. We went from 5 cents to $24. And the next bull market, we went from $2 to $1,100. The next bull market, we went from 160 to 19,500. The next bull market, we went from about 4,000 up to 64,000. And then we fell down to about 15.5. If we do the same 16x that we did last bull market, that would put us about $250,000. And Plan B is saying the next 10 months are going to be face melting FOMO with 30% drop. So be ready for those. But he's saying, yeah, we could see a massive rally here. And if we think about it, right, last cycle we did have some manipulation. We did have entities that came in and force sold Bitcoin. We know FTX was literally keeping down the price of Bitcoin for a while. They were manipulating it in all sorts of ways. And now we have large institutions that aren't doing that, it seems. They're actually putting real money in. Maybe we even see more than what we saw last cycle. If we saw the same kind of pump that we saw the cycle before last cycle, so the same pump that we saw in 2015, 2017, we'd have 122x. From that 15,500, that's well above 1 million. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying there is a chance that we see gains bigger than people think. Now, why do I say you need that 0.16 Bitcoin? Well, less than a month ago, I talked about how you needed 0.21 Bitcoin. And the thought process behind that was that would be $10,000. At the time of that recording, that was $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. Now, that's not life-changing money for a lot of people, but it's a significant nest egg. It's enough that you have access to Bitcoin. You have almost the same amount that millionaires could have. Like if every millionaire took an equal cut of Bitcoin when you account for the coins that are lost, they'd have about 0.21 Bitcoin. And again, it meshed with that $10,000 mark. That's a significant amount. That could buy a car. That could be not a nest egg, but an emergency fund. Now, about 3 weeks later after that video, that would cost now $13,000 instead of $10,000. For most people, they're not able to invest $3,000 a month. And this goal just became $3,000 more expensive. So it's getting further away for anyone that can't invest $3,000 a month. It just got further away if you don't have that 0.21. Now, why do I say 0.16? Well, that's the new goal. That's $10,000 worth of Bitcoin at $62,000. 0.16 Bitcoin is that new $10,000 mark. And after a little bit longer, this $10,000 worth of Bitcoin is going to be worth $12,000, $13,000, $15,000, $20,000, right? And it's just going to be impossible for some people, most people, to get to 0.16 Bitcoin. So this continues to get further and further away. The key is you need to allocate. You need to allocate like mad. Of course, make sure that you're always comfortable with whatever you do invest. But if you're not here, time's working against you during a bull market. Now, why do I say that BlackRock is specifically giving you 72 hours? Well, we have less than 72 hours until the market opens Monday. People are going to talk about Bitcoin, how crazy it was, right? They were at work all week. They're going to meet their buddies at the golf course. They're going to talk about how they're investing in Bitcoin, how it went up 20% this week. And then people are going to go back to their financial advisors, to their institutions, to their brokerages, and smash buy on Monday. It's actually kind of what we saw this week. We saw a huge inflow starting on Monday. We saw 9,500 Bitcoin being bought, and then 10,000 the next day, and then 11,000 nearly the next day. And then yesterday we had a bit of a muted session because of some of that GBTC selling. But overall, the last 5 days averaged out, the ETFs have bought about 7,300 Bitcoin per day. Okay, so we have no OTC Bitcoin, which means that there's not anything to transact. You're going to have to buy it from someone from their cold dead hands. So you're going to have to figure out some place to buy Bitcoin, or you're just going to bid up the price. Starting Monday, the average from this week, 7,300 Bitcoin, could happen next week. Now, we moved $10,000 this week. What happens next week if we have the same amount of buying and we saw less OTC Bitcoin than ever before? We see massive withdrawals. We've seen multiple wallets try to buy thousands and thousands of Bitcoin this week. What happens next week at market open? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to spike up. And while there will be some resistance possibly around the all-time highs, we're also going to see a lot of news about it. We're going to see a crazy amount of coverage on Bitcoin next week. And people are going to see, oh, Bitcoin's at a new all-time high. Oh, every 4 years it goes up about 3x, 5x, 100x. Oh, maybe I should buy some Bitcoin. Boom, smash buy. $50,000, $10,000, $100. That is going to be what people do. And as that happens, there's less and less Bitcoin around. We really have no idea how fast Bitcoin can move up. Your portfolio could be 100 grand today. It could be 150 next week. There's no way of knowing because there's just so little Bitcoin around. People do different analysis to look at, okay, if someone buys $1 billion of Bitcoin, net Bitcoin, well, how much does that spike up the price? And right now it's showing about 100, depending on where you're looking. I think it was Bank of America that said 100x multiple. That can move up. That can move up when there's less Bitcoin around, when less people want to sell, when people are expecting it to go up substantially, right? As more and more institutions want a higher allocation to Bitcoin, well, that multiple shoots up. So yeah, you have 72 hours. You have 72 hours to get to 0.16 Bitcoin because, again, that's kind of an arbitrary goal, but it's $10,000. It would be helpful for a lot of people. And you have 72 hours because BlackRock is not going to wait. They're not going to wait for you to get your next pay raise. They're not going to wait for you to get your next bonus. They're not going to wait for your next paycheck. They're going to go out and talk to more people. People are going to talk to people, word of mouth. And yeah, starting Monday, they're going to be buying a lot more Bitcoin. So I hope you're ready for this bull run. Now, again, leave the BEP20 USDT wallet address in the comment section. I actually plan on doing another giveaway sometime this weekend for the same amount. So again, to be entered into that, leave the address. Also, tell me why you like Alvaro or think that could do well. And check out the link underneath the video to Margex and CoinW. I really appreciate that. I will see you in the next video. Bye.